Welcome, sisters, once again to Return of the Priestess 3. This is Dawn DelVecchio, your host, and I am very pleased today to bring to you a beautiful sister, and we will be exploring the Aquarian Age as the goddess of the Holy Grail. But before we dive in there, let's begin by grounding, centering, and connecting. So if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes and notice where you want to place your hands. Often I guide us to place one hand on the heart, one hand on the womb space. But trust your guidance in this now moment to where you can most deeply connect with your inner self. As we take a breath in, to draw in the life force energy and expand into the heart space, coming home to present moment on the inhale, and deepening that present moment awareness on the exhale, releasing the responsibilities of the day. Breathing in to open and become available for the spacious present moment. Exhaling to release the past, the future, and all that is not of this now moment. And one more breath in. Connecting into the sisterhood all around this earth, sharing this moment, and exhaling to offer love and light to yourself and all the world. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. Our guest today, our expert speaker and priestess is Jetaime Cheree. Jetaime Cheree. And Jetaime is a healer, facilitator, green witch, spiritual entrepreneur, and Akashic ambassador on the priestess path of remembering, reclaiming, and resurrecting the sacred voice of the goddess within. And we will be talking a little bit, and then she has a beautiful presentation for us today about the goddess of the Aquarian Age. We will be talking about the intersection of the tarot and numerology and the symbology of the archetypal realm and how that guides us in these times. So welcome, Jetaime. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Dawn. I'm so blessed and so received in this space. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I like to begin our calls with an invitation for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and what brought you to the priestess path.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, I feel it has been a journey that I have been coming back to year after year after year since I was a child, and always have been very interested in the esoteric and the occult, anything that was supernatural, anything that had an air of ethereal magic to it just really caught my attention. And, then I got into reading tarot as a teenager. I think so many of us, at least in my age range, were completely taken away with the movie The Craft, and that's like a whole generation. And I think what ultimately brought me to my knees at the altar of the goddess was deep loss, actually. My husband passed away 4 years ago, surprisingly, in his sleep. And we had been on a very deep spiritual journey together of plant medicines and meditations and traveling to sacred sites and, really just in divine union, exploring what it means to be in a conscious relationship. And after his transcendence, not really understanding what my purpose was on this earth anymore.
Wow.
And there's a really beautiful saying that there's nothing more beautiful than coming to the altar naked. And that's exactly what happened. I was stripped bare and free and raw and wild and just a bleeding heart coming to the goddess and asking if I'm supposed to still be here. What is my purpose? What is my passion? What is my path? How do I move forward? And I was given instructions on what my next steps were to engage and empower myself, and then to do that for others. and to be able to move forward in a way that felt aligned and authentic and that would bring me bliss and happiness. And so here we are.
Wow. Wow. What an intense story. I didn't know that. We hadn't spoken about that previously. Wow. Incredible. And so you have, in those 4 years, really developed an incredibly rich inner life and also teaching practice. And you have a business as well. And you're located, tell everyone where you are located.
Absolutely. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. And I do have a metaphysical store. This is something that I had wanted to do for many years. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 and had started a business right out of school. And just always knew that I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to be a steward. I wanted to be a guide and a guardian. And I opened this metaphysical business about 4 years ago, probably just a little bit after my husband had passed. I was already in the motions of doing it. And I had already been on that path to provide a sanctuary. And the name of the business is Sage Sanctuary. And we are a place in our community and really the wider and greater collective where you can come and feel safe. You can breathe, which is getting a little difficult in our world these days, to be able to take a deep breath and feel like you are welcomed and you are at home. And so it's a boutique where we sell crystals and tarot decks and crystal bowls and chimes. And we have a really large bookstore because I'm an avid researcher. And then we have a sanctuary upstairs where we do events daily, weekly. We do workshops, certifications, Reiki, ceremonies, cacao, medicine ceremonies, breath work, yoga, sound baths.
Wow.
We provide readings. We have a number of facilitators that work with us. And so it's about providing a sanctuary, a safe and sacred space where we can unfold and unravel and find ourselves.
Wow, very beautiful. There's so much we can dive into here. And I know that you have a gorgeous presentation for us. So what I'd like to do now is just mute myself and let you share. We've already done the technology to share screens. So
Yes.
Go ahead and take it away and guide us through your wisdom that you want to share today.
Thank you so much, Dawn. All right, let's get started, everyone. Return of the Priestess, the Aquarian Age as the goddess of the Holy Grail. This will be through the lensing of numerology, etymology, astrology, tarot, and the Akashic records. At our ultimate origin, we are the womb keepers of infinite keys and codes. However, we are a species with amnesia, and the alchemy of remembrance has to happen through the decoding of many allegories and myths, which are the only record of a forgotten chapter in our story. In each age, there are worlds of layers and legacies that carry over into the next epoch from the last. We are the awakening antiquarians of this Aquarian age. We are the ones who are versed in knowledge of ancient things, the emergence of genetic memories, dormant DNA, and new neural pathways that allow us to join the quest of our forgotten ancestors and to help write and rewrite the tale of a bloodline that has long passed from mundane memory, even if we don't realize it yet. Now, this Aquarian age gives us the felt sense and the somatic experience of our ancestors, and it allows us to see firsthand the mystery that's being decoded right in front of us, should we have the eyes to see and the trust to believe that we do hold the keys and codes that unveil the hermetically sealed content of this Aquarian age. This age of the goddess who pours forth from her cosmic womb space as the holy vessel, carrying the life-giving waters to satiate the dehydrated and war-torn earth. Now, to understand this, we return to ancient Sumeria and the Babylonians, who first named the zodiac signs called Aquarius, which is the Great One, an infinite being who poured overflowing vases of celestial sky juice on the cosmic mountaintop and irrigated the fields of worlds below. The constellation of the Great One in Sumerian was written Mul Gu La in Sumerian cuneiform text, which is the oldest form of historical writing that we have known to man. Now, the term gula is derived from the Sumerian word gal, which at the simplest level means great or noble. It can also signify a leader or a steward, and significantly can also mean a large cup, bowl, or vase. Keep that in mind. Now, the gu sign depicts the grail with a glyph for share or division. And in these ancient times, the oldest form of gula was feminine, and it was used as a divine origin applied to the goddess as the gatekeeper, holding open stylized doors, which can be seen as pillars of initiation. Mul gula in Sumerian cuneiform text as Aquarius can be translated as the star of the noble vessel or the star of the holy grail. Now, these pillars of initiation were originally seen as the creatrix pillars of the yoni, the feminine waters of the goddess birthing a new world, an Aquarian world. Gula is actually the name of the Babylonian goddess of healing and the patroness of the healing arts, who is associated with transformation and ascension. Her iconography depicts her always with a dog surrounded by stars. What else does this sound like? A dog surrounded by stars, which is where we go into Sirius, the dog star, what I like to call the god star or the goddess star, which in ancient Egypt and many other cradle civilizations symbolized the opening of the year. Sirius was unrivaled as the most important star in the sky. It was the astronomical foundation of the Egyptians' entire religious system. Now, the majority of their deities were connected in some way or another with the star Sirius. The Egyptian calendar system was based on the heliacal rising of Sirius that occurred just before the annual flood every summer. Now, the star system of Sirius symbolized a portal opening a great year, a new astrological age, and the flooding or inundation of fertility, abundance, and healing. It's my personal belief that Sirius and the flooding of the Nile was the goddess's water breaking and the commencement of the birth of the sacred, and that these ancient civilizations knew that. They knew that they were being inundated with new sacred information for a new age coming through, a changing of the guard, if you will. And so there were celebrations and feasts and just a reverence for this new energy coming into the planet. Now, Sirius was consecrated to the goddess Isis, and the Egyptian name for the star Sirius, which is Sophis, means the soul of Isis, and also means to be pregnant. And so we have Auset, which is the Egyptian name of Isis. We have Sopdet, which is the Egyptian name for Sirius, and we have Sophis. These are all related to the archetypes of Mother Mary and many more deities that are known as Lady of the Stars, Queen of Heaven, and She of the Womb. Now, in birthing this new world, we are as children, seeing the past, the present, the future, as an age reborn, connected to old forms, ancient sacred practices, and internal and external remembrances, along with how these recycled energies fit into the puzzle pieces of this present moment, this present day. And now the ancient cosmology, divination, oracular vision, different scientific principles like astronomy, astrology, philosophy, and mathematics, for thousands of years, this was the traditional domain of priestesses and priests. We're going to stick with priestesses, though, of the temple. And so at the beginning of human civilization, these practices, these rituals, these ceremonies were effectively indistinguishable from religion, how we know it today. And so our myths, our legends, our memories, and our prophecies of a future untold all have an origin point. They have a kernel seed that triggers an echo of activations that root within our core psyches of our primal and our passion. Now, that echo can be heard in many places, and specifically in the divination of the tarot. And so now as we get into the tarot, I know many people are familiar, But my personal interpretation of the tarot, having been reading tarot for about 12 years now, I find that it's the universal language for the self and for the self-understanding. It's a mirror to the self and to our own energies. It's a divination tool that, as we know, is made up of 78 mystical cards. Now, this tool helps the student of enlightenment, of awakening, of ascension, detect and communicate the language of the universe in their everyday lives, among nature, among their dreams, among their careers, everything. It is this omnipotent energy that is always available to us, that is played out in the archetypes of the tarot. In order for us to receive this guidance, we must learn the language. And symbolism is the alphabet of hidden knowledge. I personally feel that tarot is the heroine's journey through the Aquarian Age, from the stage of the womb of the Holy Grail into the sacred bloodline that is being awakened and actualized right now. Now, 0, this is the Fool. This is being the ineffable potentiality of the all, the circle that has no beginning and no end, the everything and the no thing, the omnipotence of source, the chrysalis, the womb of the cosmos, between the veil that is awaiting the uniting spark of life. We then move on to the magician. And I've always seen the magician as the adept. I like to call them the Vestal virgins of the priests and the priestesses who enter the temple and start to connect to the sacred teachings, utilizing the ancient and the ancestral remembrances, the elements, the directions, the stars, the above and the below, the immersion into and also through the lineage that has come before them and those that are destined to come from them. We then have the High Priestess, my favorite. I'm sure many of us are favorites, which is the embodiment of the Shekinah, the Sophionic wisdom, the conduit and the channel of the goddess here on earth in physical form. She's the oracle, she's the seer, she's the visionary, and she's the one who anoints and initiates. I like to think of the High Priestess as Isis or Mary Magdalene, both of which who were high priestesses of the Isis lineage. She sees the path ahead and she prepares with dedication, commitment, and passion to the path of purpose. We then move on to the Empress. Now, the Empress is the Holy Mother, the personification of the Queen, she who holds the crimson sash of the priestess bloodline and half of the awakening within her holy vessel. She is the divine feminine, which initiates the emperor into kingship and full rulership. Without the feminine, the emperor cannot rule a fertile and abundant land. I'm going to take a quick pause here because I want to show you guys something. Do you notice with all of the cards, we see only one perspective, one side of the face, and it's the left side. These cards are a depiction that is, they're not the exact, but they are based off of the Rider-Waite traditional tarot. And so we're going to come back to this. But I just want to show you that one facade, one perception. And so as we move on, the emperor, he's the king, the protector, the warrior, the structured, stable influence that holds our cosmic swirling energy, holds that energy to this gravitational field so that we have an anchor to this epoch, to this era, to this dimension. The emperor is the penetrative, masculine, rooting and rising. He helps to rise up the planted seed within the womb of the holy vessel. As we move on, we go into the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the spiritual guru, the higher self, the hand of God that gives his blessing for the union. The Hierophant, along with the High Priestess, they both stoke the fire of the sacred temple. Our body, our vessel is the sacred temple, which lends the spark of life that is needed to light the way through the labyrinth, which is the path of birth, rebirth, awakening, and ascension. And so when the High Priestess has united with the Hierophant and the Empress has united with the Emperor, they have blazed the twin flame alchemical souls of polarities. They are the lovers, the red and the white, the lower and the higher mind, the spiritual and the human characteristics of consciousness. They have enabled the hero's Gamos marriage between the veils, reuniting the infinite, the stellar source with the cosmogony of Earth. They have ignited the immaculate conception of self and soul, the Big Bang. The lovers are the cosmic orgasm. That is a resounding call that implies that a star is born on Earth through the path of the lovers. And so even as we say star, all of these amalgamations, from the tarot to divination to dreams, the occult, the hidden, the arcana, all of it is connected. There are all of these small destiny threads that weave into a larger tapestry. So a star is born through the union of the lovers. The star is also the card that is associated with the energy of Aquarius, with the age of Aquarius, with the constellation of Aquarius. The star represents the Magdalene, the queen of the heavens, the divine feminine, the mother, the priestesses, the witches, the birth keepers, the herbalists, the healers, the oracles, the visionaries, the shamanas, the dakinis, and the devas. The star is us. It always has been. It's all of us in our fullest expression, unafraid, balanced, supported, authentic, raw, wild, and absolutely unapologetic in our greatness and in our capacity to shine and be the beacon, to be the star. So I'm just going to take a little breath there because that's a lot. And we're going to move into some of the numerology around the Aquarian Age, around this year of 2022. And so 2022.
Can I just
absolutely.
I just wanted to make a comment before we transition
Please
here to the
do.
next window of what an absolutely poetic and elegant and clear transmission of the interpretation of the tarot you have just offered us. Thank you, sister. As you may know, I've been a student and practitioner of the tarot for almost 4 decades now, and I've read a lot of books too. The depth of your research is so clear, and the elegance with which you bring it forth. I surely hope that you aim to or have already written books on this topic.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And it is in the works. I teach a tarot certification online, so this is something that I'm bringing forth into the collective, and I've been doing it in my community for the past 4 years, but I'm passionate about it, and it's a resurgence that comes from a place that I can't name, and so therefore I know that it is a part of just me, all of me that's come through so many lifetimes, and so it's time to be all of me. Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to mute myself again. I'm very eager to hear about the 2022 and our numerology.
Beautiful. Okay. So 2022 is a 6th year, and in numerology, we will add all of the digits to equal a single digit number. And so 2 plus 2 plus 2 is the 6th year. As we've already established, 6 is the number of the lovers in the tarot. And so the energy, the effervescence, and the flavor of this year is of union. It's of divine union. It's divine union within. It's divine union externally. It's about bringing all elements of ourself, our high, our low, our back, and our front in self-reflective love, appreciation, and acceptance of each other. And so as we move on and we really look at some of the symbolism between the tarot and the sacred geometry, which is what I like to call numerology of our lives, there are 22 major arcana in tarot. We're in a 22 year. The 22nd card of tarot is the world. Now, if we bring the 2 and the 2 together, we get the number 4. The 4th card of tarot is the emperor. So already we have this little destiny thread that's weaving. 2022 is a year of divine union. Divine union, rooting and rising in the world. What do we need to bring that into this space? We need structure. We need someone to be able to provide safety for that. That is the energy of the emperor. And so divine union brought into the world through the architect of the emperor. So we have the blueprint, which is divine union. We have the location, which is our collective, the world. And then we have our architect who will bring it into realization. And now, as we move on here to the other side, We have 78 cards total in a traditional tarot deck. When we put 7 and 8 together, we have 15. The 15th card of the tarot is the Devil card. The Devil card is associated also with the Lovers, because 1 and 5, which is 15, is the 6th card, which goes right back to the Lovers. And so when it really comes down to it, we have this energy of divine union that is the blueprint, coming into the collective, coming into the world, being utilized by the architect who is the emperor. And then we also have this other side of the Lovers, which can be seen as our base emotions, our primal emotions, our rawness, our wildness that is typically shunned. Our conditioning gives us that love, and the Lovers is just, the rainbow kind, beautiful love, which it is. But it also can be challenging. It also can bring up emotions and trauma and originating patterns that need to be seen, and that most of the time can only be seen in partnership and in union, whether that's within ourselves or that's within communion with another. And so when the Devil comes up in readings for me, people get scared. And I'm like, oh no, where's your authenticity? Where's your integrity? Where's your wildness? Where's your unapologeticness? Who are you at your core, at your base, when no one is watching, when no one is needing you, when no one is perceiving who you are through the lens of their own eyes? Unchain yourself. And as the Devil card depicts, we have this, it's, we're going to look at it right here. On the right-hand side, it's typically depicted as the Lovers being chained to this energy that feels evil, that feels dark, that feels really deep. But if you look, they're not chained. It's actually just a perception that they are held back and that they can walk away at any moment. And remember earlier when I was saying that all of the cards, 1 through 6, have the perception of just facing in one direction. They have the direction of one-sided things. When you look at the Lovers and when you look at the Devil card, they are facing each other, self-reflective, looking at each other in the eyes, seeing each other for all that they are. We're not just seeing it from one perspective. And so the tarot, divination, and really this Akashic era after our utmost presence to discern our perception of this reality. Can we come from a centered sense of inner direction, or do we angle ourselves to come from one side or another, cutting off our sight, our visionary abilities, and the infinite amount of potentiality that we originate from? It can be our primal and our passion, our dense and our delicate, the wound and the womb. And we can ask ourselves in every moment, are we in hell or are we held? And so we're in this moment of perception, the Lovers of the Devil, divine union of everything, all amalgamations of self, the journey and the awakening. And in my mind and in my consciousness and in my heart and in my being, and what my mission is to speak the truth that this is what ascension is. And this is how we're moving forward.
Beautiful. I had another reflection I wanted to share.
Absolutely.
With regard to the relationship between the Devil card and the Lovers, and of course that number 6, and the imagery is always consistent, as you've shown here, of there being a couple in the Devil card. And I've often called the Devil what bedevils you. And when I look at these two cards here, I look at the sort of intention of divine union on the left with the Lovers card, and then the egoic constructs and projections of relationship in the Devil card.
Absolutely, Dawn. Absolutely. It's the perceptions. And I really, truly feel it's these reflections of a conditioned collective that have given us the archetype of the Devil, of the energies of looking outside of ourselves in an externalized notion to see what's being reflected back at us so that we can understand ourselves. When in reality, and what is reality to be honest, but inwardly, it's only our inward consciousness, our inner reflection that allows us to truly know how we can be perceived in our fullest expression. And so these cards are just two sides of the same coin. And when we put them together, they equal self-reflective love in all parts of ourselves. Anything that we deem dark and full of depth, and anything that we deem higher and upwards. And there's no value judgment. There's no good, wrong, bad. It's all just is. It all is just an experience for us to understand and to feel our divinity more fully.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. And so moving on to an example of how all of this comes together in this Akashic and Aquarian age is that Akash or Akasha is the fifth of the five great elements. Of course, we have the earth, water, fire, air, and Akasha is known as the ether. Akasha is not just ether, but is unlimited space that is unbound by any material form. It is the elements in nature spring forth, and we have the five. We are the sixth. We are the sixth of the great elements, the unveiling of a new age of Akashic remembrance, of the Aquarian Akashic age. And so what has been coming in for me so much before this year came into fruition, and now since this year is very quickly underway already, can't believe we're in March, it's that we've been being prepared for this for so long. The five elements being an amalgamation of all of our energies, all of our perceptions, all of our magic, all of our power, all of our experience. And when we put it all together, we are the sixth of the great elements. We are the divine union of it all. We are the combination of all the elements brewed together in our cauldron of consciousness as a serving of our remembered felt sense divinity. And we are here for our awakening and for the ascension process. Now, the Akashic records are a symbolic representation of our consciousness. I've been reading the Akashic records for about 5 years professionally, and I've always found it to be that it's an illustration of our every thought, our emotion, our experience, and events that has ever been expressed in any form that exists in the collective consciousness, that exists within us. So we, as a collective, as humans, as fractals of the divine, are the compendium of the archetypical journeys taken individually and collectively together. Divination as a whole really shows us the probable and possible path, also the shortcuts, the workarounds, the ease and grace, the challenges, obstacles and blockages as well, that are either internally or externally placed, but nonetheless, they are here to show us the beauty of this experience. And in this experience, there is no value judgment. There's no shaming. There's no too late or too soon. It's just an experience. And it's an experience of the cyclical pattern that we encounter every day in nature, in the cosmos, in the birth, rebirth, death cycle. It's just a cyclical pattern. And if we can understand that cyclical pattern, we will have attained a cipher for existence. Now, this Akashic era, or this age of air, this is the age of Aquarius, and it permeates everything in the universe. It is the spirit of God, Goddess, the lovers, moving on the face of the waters. And now you've seen the symbolism for the zodiac sign of Aquarius, which is the holy vessel. And here she is again. Aquarius as the water bearer. Aquarius as the keeper of the holy grail. Aquarius as a naked high priestess who has thrown off her robes, revealing the mysteries as she has nothing to hide anymore, nothing to be afraid of. This is our time. And so she kneels down as if in prayer, pouring her life-giving fluids on the land as well as the waters, because all are welcome. And so this age of Aquarius is the return of the Magi, the Magdalene, the magic, and the Messiah, the messianic bloodlines within each and every one of us, saving ourselves, saving each other while being held in the womb of existence. We are the potentiality of the zero card. I like to call the zero the hero or the heroine, pouring out the satiating amniotic fluid, the royal blood that is being poured over the world. We are rebirthing our evolution. We are reinstating our remembrance. We are reigniting and reawakening our divinity, our connection, and our relationship to the holy within and without. And so this year, 2022, this age of Aquarius, this age of air, this Akashic era is the return, our return, the return of the priestess. We are the mages of medicine. We are the healing heroines. The time is here and now, and we are the ones that we have been waiting for. What a great time to be alive.
Blessed be.
Blessed be. Blessed be. Blessed be. And so it is, or something even better.
Wow. Thank you, sister. This has just been such a beautiful, poetic, gorgeous share. Thank you for putting this together for us.
Thank you. Thank you for receiving. Thank you, each and every one of you, for receiving, for it landing within your heart and awakening your own keys and codes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So with that, I wanted to, that was so rich right there. And I didn't know if you had another guided experience for us or anything else you wanted to share to bring this journey to a close, or perhaps we can tell people about your free gift, if not.
Absolutely. So I'm also a sound shamana. And I do write a lot of poetry that I put into song. And so my free gift is a poetry that I dedicated to the goddess, but also dedicated to the rooting of the goddess here on earth. And it's called Sisters of a Mysterious Order. And it's over the sounds of chalice bowls and singing bowls and gongs and chimes. And so it's just speaking into the remembrance of who we are and what we came here to do. And I created it more so as a transmission and an activation for others to be able to stand as their beacon, magnificent, brilliant selves, and to give permission to others who see them standing bright in the distance and saying, "What is that?" and going towards it and being curious. Because curiosity is really what brings about this dormant DNA. It's this curiosity of our consciousness that brings us into our conduit selves of the divine. And so that'll be my free gift. And
beautiful.
In general, I'm available for Akashic record readings. I do those virtually as well as tarot readings. I also offer, I'm a Reiki master, and my main, I do use Sui and Holy Fire Reiki, but I'm really devoted to Magdalene Reiki, which is incorporating the energy of all of the goddesses that imbibe and imbue us with the divine feminine.
Wow, beautiful. Well, my dear, I want to thank you again for bringing your beauty and your poetry and this incredible deep dive wisdom to us at this time, and weaving together the Akash, the symbology of the tarot, numerology, really extraordinary work here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dawn.
Yes. And so I want to invite all of us now to take a few moments and a few breaths just to really integrate. There was a lot here. And so I want to just invite us. You can again close your eyes if you'd like and take a few breaths. And like stars of the star card, the Aquarian goddess, notice what lights up for you in what Jetaime has shared with us. What did you most pull and experience from this transmission, this presentation? And just notice and take that in. Perhaps it's something you will want to explore more deeply after this call is over or after the series is complete. And allow the star goddess now to touch your heart, enlivening and awakening the light in you to step into your own deep priestess self as you return in the remembrance of who you are through these ancient codes, this symbolic language that has been offered to us for these times now. And take a deep breath, drawing in all that will serve you, releasing the rest. Thank you. Okay, thank you, sisters. Thank you again, Jetaime, for being here, for your beautiful presentation. I want to encourage all of you to continue to join us for the series, and we will see you on the next call. Many blessings for now. Mwah. We'll see you soon.